Amazon is one of the biggest shopping companies in the world, and in India as well, it has been one of the biggest online shopping platforms for more than a decade now. It has money, it has consumer data, it has trust, it has delivery experience, and it has millions of people already using the Amazon app. So, at least on paper, Amazon should have been the first company that saw quick commerce coming before anyone else saw it. But strangely, that is not what has happened. In India's quick commerce market, Amazon is not the leader today, it is actually the company that is playing catch up. Blinkit, Zepto, and Swiggy Instamart, all much younger businesses, moved faster and they built stronger habits in the minds of people like you and me. And Amazon, despite all of its advantages, arrived late to the exact market where it should have had a natural advantage. So then the very big question is, if Amazon already had the money, the customers, the technology and the trust and also the data and years of delivery experience, then why did it enter quick commerce properly right now? Now to understand that, we will need to look at two important things. Number one, what was Amazon protecting all of this while? And number two, what Amazon lost while it was protecting it. Let's talk about the first thing, which is what was Amazon even protecting? See, the easy answer would be that Amazon is a very big company and big companies are slow because they have too many systems and processes, and that is why they missed out on quick commerce. But that answer is way too simple and it is not even fully true, because Amazon did not really miss fast delivery in India. It actually saw it very early and it even tried its own versions for almost a decade. See, back in 2016, Amazon launched a grocery delivery service in Bangalore that promised delivery in just around 2 hours. Now, that service, interestingly, was also called Amazon Now, which is the same name that Amazon is using once again today for quick commerce. After that, Amazon tried other versions as well. There was Prime Now, there was Amazon Pantry, there was Amazon Fresh, and so on. So, Amazon was not really sitting blind while the market was changing. But there is a difference between fast delivery and the way modern quick commerce works, especially the kind that we see on Blinkit, Zepto, and Swiggy Instamart. So the real puzzle here is not whether Amazon knew if fast delivery was important or not. It clearly knew, like we saw. The real puzzle is, why did Amazon, after seeing this direction so early, still not go all in on quick commerce? Now to understand that, let's understand a little bit better as to what Amazon was protecting. See, Amazon already had a very powerful system. Its normal e-commerce model was built around large fulfillment centers. Basically, you can think of these as giant warehouses or godowns which are outside or around major cities. Now these centers store thousands and thousands of products, right from a phone charger to a book to a mixer or a shoe or shampoo or even a keyboard. And then when you order something on Amazon, the product can be picked up from one of these large centers, it can be packed, then it can be moved through Amazon's delivery network and finally delivered to your house in say 1 or 2 days. Now this model works very well because one large fulfillment center can serve a very large area. The same warehouse can handle orders from many neighborhoods, many pin codes, and sometimes even multiple cities for that matter. Now all of this gives Amazon two very big advantages. First, it can keep a very wide range of products in one place. Because the warehouse is large, Amazon can stock many different items, and that is why Amazon can feel like a place where you can find almost anything under the sun. The second advantage is that this model keeps costs under control. Look, since inventory is concentrated in a few large centers, Amazon does not really need to keep the same product in dozens or hundreds of tiny locations. It can manage stock a lot more efficiently. And by the way, the biggest strength of this model is not just big warehouses, it is also time. See, when Amazon has 1 to 2 days to deliver an order, the product does not really need to be sitting close to your house. It can be very far away, so it can travel through a sorting center, move through a delivery station, and eventually then reach you. And that is completely fine. And because there is so much time available, Amazon can serve a much wider area from a fewer larger centers. And that is why Amazon's business model is a reach model. It is built to reach as many people across as many locations as possible. And because of that, it can also serve a broader India because the customer is willing to wait. But if you think about it, quick commerce is the exact opposite. It removes the luxury of time. If an app promises to deliver something in 10 to 15 minutes, the product realistically cannot be sitting in a large warehouse far outside the city. It has to already be close to you. For example, milk, curd, shampoo or chips really has to be sitting inside your neighborhood area or very near it before you even place the order. And if you think about it, that changes the entire business from a fundamental level. Because quick commerce is not just faster delivery, it is also a completely different operating model in order to fulfill that fast delivery. It is built around local density, it needs many people in a small area to keep ordering frequently, it needs the right product stocked close to them, it needs enough riders nearby, it needs the dark store close enough to the customer, and it needs the product to be available exactly when the consumer wants it. And this is where dark stores become very important. Now, dark stores, for those of you who do not know, is a small shop or a mini warehouse that consumers do not really visit. It exists only and only to fulfill online orders. It is placed either inside or close to a neighborhood. It does not really need to look like a beautiful retail store because consumers are not really walking in. It just needs to store the right items, process orders quickly, and give them over to delivery riders when they arrive. Blinkit, Zepto, Instamart, etc., all of them have built their businesses around these dark stores itself. Their entire business model is eventually being able to build out as many dark stores as possible to serve multiple city areas. Now, at this point, you might have a very fair question. Could Amazon simply not build both of them? Why could it not keep its big fulfillment centers for normal orders and also build dark stores for quick commerce? And the answer is that Amazon can do both. There is no physical reason why it cannot. It has the money and it has the ability. But here's the thing, the moment Amazon starts doing both, a new problem comes up. The problem is no longer about delivery speed, the problem becomes inventory. I'll explain. See, in very simple words, Amazon has to decide what products should sit where as a company. Now, this sounds like a small problem from the outside, but in retail and delivery, this is one of the hardest problems to solve for. Because every product that is kept in every location has a cost. If you keep too little stock, consumers see out of stock and they leave the app. But if you keep too much stock, then money gets stuck in inventory, products may expire, and the dark store becomes a lot more inefficient than it otherwise would have been. Now, if you look at Amazon's traditional old model, it makes this easier because it pools demand together. Basically, when one large fulfillment center serves a big area, then demand from many places gets added together in one single center. People from different pin codes may be all ordering honey, shampoo bottles, batteries, curd or dal, but Amazon can stock these products in one large center and serve all of them together from the same place. And because demand is pooled in one place, Amazon can also plan their inventory a lot better. But quick commerce, like I said, does the exact opposite. It splits demand. The same products now have to be spread across many small dark stores. Amazon has to guess the demand separately for each and every single neighborhood. For example, one dark store may need more curd, another one may need more chips, and one area may require a lot more honey than otherwise. Another one may barely order anything. Basically, one neighborhood may have enough and more demand to keep the dark store busy and profitable all day, but another one may be very densely populated but may not have enough orders to justify keeping so much stock nearby. And if you think about it, all of this complexity exists for just one reason, and that is speed. And here's the thing, this kind of speed is something that we could all use in our daily work as well. I'll tell you something very interesting. See, the AI tools that most of us use today on a daily basis are already pretty fast and they help us with a lot of things. But there is still a very slow part in this entire process, and that is ourselves. See, we are the ones who usually take a long time to get what is in our head onto the screen because we all think faster than we type. But that is exactly the problem a tool like Whisperflow fixes. See, instead of typing, you can just speak into it and it turns your words into clean, properly written text wherever you are typing. That way your thoughts come out faster, and as a bonus, AI also naturally gets more context because you can be a lot more elaborate. Check this out. Hi Karshit, Ghanate and Ochinto ko bol that we will meet for dinner today. Actually tomorrow. Let's meet in Koramangala at 8 o'clock. Also, Ochinto late karta hai, so tell him 7:30. Actually, tell him 7. If you notice, it cleaned up my speech, removed filler words, got 3 very complicated names correctly, and it wrote in English. Now, I know a lot of you might say that your keyboard already has a mic tool, and even apps like ChatGPT and Claude have their own voice option, and that is completely fair. But I'll tell you 2 quick differences here that are very important. Number 1, these tools work inside only that particular app. For example, ChatGPT's voice tool only works inside ChatGPT, but Whisperflow actually sits inside your keyboard, so it works everywhere you type, including Gmail and WhatsApp. And number 2, it is genuinely accurate. Phone voice typing has been around for many years, but it was always so full of errors that nobody used to care about it. But Whisperflow has a dashboard that actually learns you over time, like the names you use and the words you commonly use, etc. And it even lets you save shortcuts for the prompts that you repeat very often. Now, if I be honest, sponsorship aside, this has really changed the way I work. I have written more than 8 lakh words on Whisperflow so far, and I am absolutely obsessed. It has made my life a lot quicker and faster and a lot more efficient, and I would love for that to happen with you as well. I'm leaving a link in the description. Please do give it a try. Anyway, now coming back to Amazon, we were looking at how tough it is to decide which product to stock in which neighborhood, and it gets even tougher because a single order is rarely about just one product. People usually open a quick commerce app with a small list in mind. Maybe they need curd, bread, chips, cold drink and batteries. And if the app that you're using only has, let's say, 3 out of those 5 items, then the consumer may not order those 3 and the remaining 2 from a different app. They will simply close the app, open another app like Blinkit, Zepto or Instamart and order all 5 items from there. And this is very important. It's actually called cart abandonment. And it basically tells us that quick commerce does not just win by delivering one item quickly, it basically wins when it helps the consumer complete their whole small list of shopping in one single go. So availability becomes a very, very big part of the product experience. And that basically means Amazon cannot keep a very thin selection of products in its dark stores and expect consumers to be happy or shop for other things using the normal Amazon application. Amazon now requires enough of the right products to close the consumer and make the purchase. But here's the problem, it can also not keep everything because that becomes very expensive and very wasteful. So Amazon basically has to solve a very difficult and delicate balance which is very unique to them. It needs good selection in the right neighborhoods, in the right stock levels, with enough demand to justify the cost. And that is why Amazon was being so careful for so many years. Basically, entering quick commerce required Amazon to disturb a very successful system for a model that at least in the early days still looked very, very uncertain. And this is very important because early versions of quick commerce did not really look like an all-India behavior. It was more of a dense city, tier 1 sort of a habit. It only seemed to be working in those kind of areas where there were enough high-frequency consumers in a small area, enough riders, enough order volume, and enough willingness to pay for speed. And Amazon's strength, like you would have figured by now, was the exact opposite. Amazon was built to reach the wider part of India, not just a few dense pockets. So Amazon had to judge whether this local city-heavy behavior was big enough to serve a serious bet from their side. And that is why Amazon's delay in entering quick commerce was not just laziness, I think it was more to do with caution. And that caution brings me to the second and very important point. See, while Amazon was waiting, Blinkit, Zepto and Instamart used all of those 4 to 5 years to build something that money cannot really buy later. They built habit. Now, to understand why habit matters so much, think about how most of us use quick commerce. See, quick commerce orders are not really carefully planned in most cases. You don't really sit for 1 hour comparing 5 different apps before you buy a packet of curd, right? The need appears suddenly, probably when you're cooking and you realize something is over, or you realize guests are coming home and there are no snacks, or maybe it's late night and you need milk or ice cream, or for that matter, if your remote stops working and you need batteries suddenly. You basically want something quickly and you want that problem to disappear suddenly as well. And in that moment, if you think about it, you're not really behaving like a normal once in a month kind of shopper. The decision in your case is much faster because you are trying to solve an immediate problem. And when people are solving an immediate problem, they do not want to usually think too much. And that is why they usually open the app that comes to their mind the first. They trust it, they add items and they order. And that is the real prize in quick commerce. Fast delivery gets the app considered, yes, but habit is the one that eventually gets the order again and again. And eventually the winner in quick commerce is the app that your hand opens before even thinking too much about it. And Blinkit, Zepto and Swiggy Instamart have been building this habit right from the beginning of quick commerce in India. Their apps, their brand names, their delivery promises, their product selection, their notifications, their marketing and their entire consumer experience, all of it is pointing towards that one simple idea: when you need something quickly, open us and order. But if you compare that to Amazon, Amazon comes from the exact opposite space. For years, we have used Amazon to browse, to compare, to read reviews, and to wait for a day or two for a planned order. That is the habit people have with Amazon. So Amazon is now trying to add a new urgent habit on top of an old relaxed habit, and that is a very, very hard thing to do. Now, of course, spending money on marketing can help, but it will only help to a certain point. Amazon can spend on advertising, it can give discounts, it can offer free trials, it can promote Amazon Now inside its main app and do all of that stuff. But the reality is, all of that might create trial, but trial and habit is not the same thing. A consumer may open Amazon Now once because they saw an advertisement, they may order twice because the delivery is free, they may test it because Amazon is a known and trusted brand, and so on and so forth. But the real test is what happens in an unplanned moment, when they are not really thinking about offers and not really comparing applications with each other. Basically, when you're suddenly craving ice cream at 12 o'clock in the night, which is the quick commerce app that comes to your mind first? That is the battle. And a head start in that early mindshare is exactly what Amazon lost by waiting for so long. So with both of these points now, the big question is, was Amazon's late entry smart or costly? Honestly, I think it was a bit of both. It was very smart because quick commerce was really risky in the beginning, and for a company that had a very strong existing model, waiting was not a foolish decision but a really sensible one. But it was also a very costly mistake because the market moved while Amazon was waiting. Quick commerce has now become a serious urban habit in India. People in cities have become so used to getting everyday products in minutes that they probably cannot do otherwise. And here's the thing, once people get used to that speed, their expectations also start to change. Basically, basically, what earlier felt like magic suddenly feels very normal. And when a behavior becomes normal, entering late becomes very, very difficult. So Amazon's biggest challenge now is not just dark stores or quick delivery. The bigger challenge is changing the consumer's mental shortcut. And the way Amazon tries to do that over the next few months or years will be really, really interesting to see. That's it from my side in today's video. I would love to understand, what do you think of Amazon's quick commerce entry? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and I would love to have a chat with you. Anyway, if you found this breakdown and analysis useful, please do hit the like button so the video gets recommended to more people like you, and also please subscribe to my channel because it keeps me motivated to make more such business and marketing breakdowns for you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.